Freedom to Move. So this is a program that we're going to put in the marketplace, which I'm super chuffed about, and this is I know this is really, this is Ianthe's passion and brilliance, and we've tested it, and we patients come back to us and tell us they love it, so it's ready to go. So I mean, I think Ianthe, you said something to me the other night when we were chatting, just about the philosophy a little bit, and we need to be a little bit, we need to be clear about maybe what the philosophy is, because, I spoke initially about sort of dance-based interventions, particularly for chronic pain, but maybe you can kind of talk to that. What do you think the right wording and sort of positioning is for this?
Well, that's really a really good question, because it is such an integrated culmination of all of the movement experiences that I've personally had, as well as over the years of working with clients. And whereas I would like to say that it is a dance-based program, I also would like to be cautious in allowing everyone to feel included. So yes, there are elements of dance, but there are also elements of yoga, and there are also elements of breathing, and there are also elements of Feldenkrais, and there are also elements of Pilates. And so it is a beautiful fusion of free-flowing movement that can be viewed as freedom of dance, freedom of expression, and the fact that the movements are done to music in the background for a lot of the course component and material. There is music in the background, and I just did a Facebook Live in our metabolic group, and I shared how music moves me, and music is therapeutic for me. And from a scientific background, music has been used as a pain management tool for yonks. It's just been, conveniently left out of mainstream media and medical science. But the element of utilizing music to bring back focus and attention and actually switch where we are experiencing neuroscience happening and neurochemical reactions happening in the brain, which is where we want to be. That alone can lend itself to thinking freedom of movement is a dance-based program, because it's movement to music. And anybody can move. My whole philosophy is if you have a body, you can dance, even if it's clicking your fingers and like grooving your head around. That's dancing. It's an expression of movement with flow and music. So whereas it's not choreographed dance-based program, it certainly does have the elements of music and harmony and freedom to move. There's no better way of describing it. It's this magnificent fusion of dance, some flow, some Pilates, some breathing, some yoga philosophy. It's all of these magnificent movement modalities that are already out there, but we've just taken the best parts and made it ours to be appropriate for people with chronic pain. So as I said on the Facebook Live, it's not every single movement may seem as though it's random, but none of the movements which we've created and shared in our program are anything but random.
Absolutely.
So that's just what's really important.
Okay. And I love that. And I mean, and Warren, from your perspective as somebody I think is going to have a critical role, because we introduce mindset and specific individual mindset coaching in this program very early on, so that in fact you'll, like, outside of me just connecting the technology at the beginning, and running through the assessment piece, you'll be the first person outside of that to touch base with the individual participant, because let's be honest, all of us have. I've certainly worked in the last few years with people with chronic pain, and you've been doing this for quite a long time now. and Warren, maybe from your perspective, what do you think what are you going to bring to that? And what do you think the important elements are of someone who's coming into a program where, where movement is painful? What do you think the critical components are going to be for success here?
So the first question I have to ask, Ianthe, how do I pronounce your name? Is that a silent L, or is that
it's I? It's actually an I. It's an I.
So how do I say it?
Ianthe.
Ianthe. Okay.
Yes.
Is that right? Did I just say it right? Okay. Because I'm sitting here looking at, is that an L? Is it an I? And then I kind of don't hear it quickly because it's Steve. You said the name so quickly, and I'm thinking, oh, do I get this wrong? Do I get this right? Well, let me be vulnerable and find out how I pronounce it.
Totally, absolutely good. I feel vulnerability is the new cool.
Yeah. So what I want to say, I mean, my whole take on this is we're not just the sum of our physicality. We're a mind-body being. We are consciousness and the physical. And I think consciousness is always seeking expression. And one of the most fabulous ways is through the natural expression of movement through the human body. And, it reminds me of a story that through Stephen Kotler's work, who's one of these sort of neuroscientists who does research on flow, he was quoting an African-American blues singer who sang, if you free your mind, your ass will follow. And it's actually the other way around. If you free your ass, your mind will follow. So the best way for people to start, to have no idea that actually they are the purest potential as consciousness, is to actually start moving their bodies. And in that, they get to self-regulate. They get to sort of the vagus nerve regulation, the central nervous system, the lymphatic system, all these other things. And they think that they're feeling so amazing, but what they've gone and done is that they've regulated, and their body, which is the interface between their consciousness and their physicality, they start getting a greater sense of who they are. And they're like, man, this dancing's amazing. Meanwhile, they're just discovering themselves. So it's a very beautiful thing. So I'm so happy to be part of this, Ianthe, because I think it's going to be so amazing with the dance, and it's something different. It's like we're doing biceps and 10,000 steps a day, biceps and squats and 10,000 steps a day. It's actually in that movement, people being able to get out of themselves and express in a way that they wouldn't normally. To feel vulnerable, to feel a bit silly, to be able to do stuff that might feel a bit awkward because we've become so set in our ways. And a stuck body is a stuck mind. And it's really that. So then, Stevie, you were saying, what do I bring to it? Is to just, the whole thing about this, we're not dancing to stave off illness or disease or old age. We're dancing for the next best expression of our lives. That's what we're doing. And that's the reframe. Because if somebody's there, I'm doing this because I don't want to be old and frail and weak, and I don't want to have a metabolic disease, it's literally becomes a fear-based thing. And then it's based on what they have to do. They have to keep dancing because the thing might catch up. It's like dance like there's no tomorrow. Dance like no one's watching, because you're moving to the next best expression. And that freedom of expression through your physical body is the same freedom of expression that you can carry through into your mindset, your relationships, your spirituality. So it's just such a beautiful thing to be part of. So
I mean, that's going to be the message, yeah. Because a lot of people are going to come into this program fairly, they've been through everything. They've been through everyone telling them that they must just kind of get used to it. That's what I know that you've seen that a lot in the allopathic medicine space, and I don't use the word conventional because it's not conventional. It's just kind of what's happening now in that space. I don't want to tell you how doctors frame fibromyalgia. I don't want to tell you what they say, but it's kind of like, well, it's all in your head. That's kind of the message that they've been given. A lot of people are going to come into that program with that kind of framing, Warren. They've been told that they must just get used to it, put up with it. They're going to be living with, this forever, and they would just kind of deal with it. So, and I mean, so from the science perspective, and I remember, Ianthe talking to you, we started down this road, and 5-6 years ago with with looking at really at sort of post-op work with that you were doing in hospitals, which impressed me so much. Seeing somebody just straight out of spinal surgery still holding their drip, their drain, their
wound drain,
and he's taking him through a movement class in a hospital, and the outcomes were so significantly better than the traditional, which got me really interested in doing the reading about this, and it's very simple. In orthopedic practice where I am now, people who come in with chronic pain, we used to go the same way, Warren, we've done with conditioning all the time, start with stability and strength and all this kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, we just end up hurting people, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. The traditional doesn't work. And that's what's been so interesting for me, particularly as the science catches up. And the scary part is that there's a 17-year gap from when the science becomes generally accepted and there's a change in clinical practice. My word, how can that's crazy. But this is a great example. This science answer has been around for a long time.
I actually mentioned this on the Facebook Live I did, because I've been trying to bring in topics that are covered and explored in the program, right? And we can take it a little bit further. We can discuss it more. But one of the biggest things is there is a preconceived idea that the neurological system, the physiological system, the emotional system, they're all separate. And they were like one. So that is like our mind is going to affect our body, it's going to affect everything, is interconnected to make us in these magnificent human beings who we are. But everything counts. Everything matters when it comes to whole body health. And whole body health was today's message. It's mindset, it's your physiological, which is going to affect your physiological and your neurological states. They all dependent on each other. And the moment we can identify and understand things better, and we can understand that it's a unit of magnificence. We cannot separate the neurology from the physiology, from the muscles, from the emotions. Everything works together in this perfectly arranged environment called the human body.
Is that sounding familiar?
It's sounding familiar.
That's awesome. That's what's exciting for me, is that this is we all seem to be on the same page here, So, from a program perspective, let's remember, it's 30 days. It's 30 days. And Ianthe's done a remarkable job of creating 5 classes a week. I'm right, eh? It's 5 classes.
Yes.
It's 5 downloadable, streamable classes per week that the participant can do in their own home. And that's what's, again, really exciting. I think lots of people who are really, really struggling, the last thing they want to do is get out, and get out into a gym or something like that, certainly at the early stages. And then obviously we've got to make sure upfront that people are safe. So we have, obviously that process of assessment. Jenny will, our functional medicine practitioner will make sure that people are safe, that the person who's participating, who's signing up for this, is safe and not going to harm themselves. And then, Warren's going to frame them and assist them, because a lot of people are going to have a bunch of barriers here. There's going to be a bunch of barriers to actually being successful at this. But it seems like we have the right team to do this. So that's kind of what the program is. It's 5 at the, download the program, do it in your home, with friends or family, do it however you want, and
it's really beautifully graded in terms of, this is a very entry level program. Like you really, if you have no legs.
So let's make sure we understand who is this program ideally suited?
This is ideally suited for people that are looking for not the conventional going to gym or going to a biomechanics personal trainer. or biokineticist, and people that are just wanting a different take on movement. It's feel-good movement. It's all feel-good movement. The movements are so safe that my 90-year-old grandmother can do them with 2 hip replacements and a bunch of other conditions, right? So it's that safe. It's for it's for people that are looking to explore, I'm missing something in move, I'm missing out. It is a very good entry. It's a very good starting point to getting back to doing the things that you love. Right? It's a really good and safe and supportive and compassionate and uplifting movement program that's going to take you to another level so that we can start taking it further to get back to what you love doing. So, for example, you love to go to the park with your grandchildren, but you can't anymore because you're in too much pain. There's your goal. I want to go back to the park with my grandchildren, or I need to get back in the pool, but I just can't think of anything worse right now. Or and you can feel it in yourself, the drive to be able to do something, but suddenly you can't do that thing anymore. This is the program that is going to help you to get to the next step, to get you back to doing what it is that you love, or discovering something new that you would love to do, but you can't do now because you're limited in your pain.
Yeah. And I mean, it sounds like you heard Warren's mindset call to our patients last night, because that's kind of the message that you brought last night, Warren. Like you were talking about, it doesn't matter. Age is not the issue. You know, you spoke about that 90-year-old client of yours. You know, and the message for him was to say that, you know, you're not doing this just to stay with old age. You're doing this because, you know, it's the next best thing that's going to happen. Maybe you can share that story.
So you're such a wonderful client to work with, and 90 years old, and you know, we've had a couple of interesting discussions about sort of aging, and my biggest take is, first of all, it was the reframe that I shared, was that we're not training to stave off old age, and enough of this doddering around like an old man, because the whole reason why we're training is for you to actually be able to move into the next best decade of your life. And when I actually sort of broached that subject, he smiled and said, well, I haven't even thought that far, because I've spent the last 90 years getting to where I am. And it was quite an epiphany for him to actually think, well, actually, you know, there's a way. And then it's in those conversations, you know, about, listen, muscle doesn't stop being stimulated up until the day we check off this planet. New neural pathways, our brains remain functioning. We can actually stimulate our capillary systems and everything about us. It's that whole use it or lose it story. And the biggest reframe was for him was that it's not about, we're not here to stave off old age. I'm not training because I don't want to get old and decrepit and end up in a wheelchair and a nappy. I'm training because I want to walk robustly, upright, and do things. And amazingly, he's still working, so it's like, I mean, he's really doing well, and he's still working. And he got all excited because you know, he said, well, there's projects that I can definitely take on in the next 3 to 5 years that will pay off in the next 10. And it's for the first time. I said, well, that's your homework, because it's not just about training or dancing, Ianthe, for what we're doing. It's about what else can we. So while this is happening, what is the languaging of wellness? What are you planning for? Because when that chronic pain is gone, then what? Then what? And you have to have the basics in place, because life happens and there will be other pain, loss, fatigue, broken, whatever it is, whatever comes our way. What we do now through this particular program and then going forward, et cetera, is setting the foundations for a strong, robust life for the rest of our lives, because we have to become responsible for our own lives. We can no longer palm off the responsibility to other people. We have to show up and be responsible for our own well-being. And that is such an incredibly important point.
So brilliant. I actually said that today, Warren, in the Melancholy Group Live. I was like, no, we have to take responsibility. And I use the word agency. And what you've just shared now is exactly that. No one is going to do it for us. We have to do it. We need to do it because we are so much more. We are so valuable. We are worth it.
Because this is okay.
Let me interrupt, Stevie. You've got this one beautiful, now that I'm all fired up about this, you've got that one beautiful thing that you say that being healthy is an act of what's it? It's an act of defiance in and of itself. Because 100%. There's probably like 95% of the world's population are struggling.
Yeah.
And I certainly move in circles where everybody's training, everybody's working out. It's like par for the course. It's a normal thing. But then 95% of the world's population are struggling. 53% of the world's population are obese, apparently. I mean, it's just that the statistics are astronomical. And the simplest thing is move.
Yep.
That's it. That's the holy grail. That's the thing that we're all looking for, and it's right under our noses, and nobody's moving enough. And that's why I think we're here. That's why I think everything is conspired to bring and big up to you, Steve, for having brought us all together, and your vision, your and Jenny's vision in creating the Freedom to Move program. So thank you for that.
Well, no, I mean, this is I wish it was. I mean, this is Ianthe's absolute. All I'm doing is providing a platform for what she's built in the last. I know this has been a long time, but you're right. Being healthy today, these days, is it's defiant. It's absolutely going against what everybody else is doing, and that's the scary part. Warren, you and I have spoken about what is healthcare and what is sick care, and who's responsible for what. And the problem is that we call sick care providers healthcare providers. That's not healthcare. That is not healthcare. This is healthcare. So if you're gonna invest some money, this is where you invest some money. So and I think the platform and the technology today gives us the opportunity to do this in a way that is cost effective for people as well. I think that's important. I've said this before as well. If you think about, I think personal trainers, for example, are healthcare providers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And that's where real healthcare happens. Pilates instructors are healthcare providers. And if you can go to a personal trainer every single day, or 4 times or 5 times a week, that's great. But not everybody can afford to do that. Okay, that's you're talking about 7% of even Virgin Active kind of membership base for that. But the technology allows us today to take Ianthe and put it into everybody's living room. It allows us to get Jenny to check and make sure that the person is safe when they're going to do that. It allows us to put a mindset coach in somebody's living room with them, on a Zoom call anywhere in the world if they're battling and struggling. So it
also gives, and it allows those people to gain access to us, you and Warren and myself, which is, again, 90% of online programs out there, and this is possibly something that we can also share a lot more strongly, is that you have the opportunity to connect directly with us. How many thousands of online programs are there? There are thousands, guys, right? There are thousands of online programs that you purchase, and maybe you watch them, maybe you don't, but you actually can never have contact with the people that develop the program.
Absolutely.
You just don't get that. You can't. They're like inaccessible. They're like untouchables. And we are so in there. We're like with the people because, yes.
That's never something I want to do, is to create a program where we don't have human connection. I think fundamentally, I think it's been something we've worked on this program, but all other programs as well. Yes, technology allows us to be more efficient, but at the end of the day, we are tech enabled, but we are person centric. We must never ever forget that.
No.
And I think we've done a good job at making sure we do that.
Because it's so important. I really would love for anyone that that's how we learn and grow. And that's how we build a community. I think more and more today, people are wanting to be part of a community. And a lot of us are feeling lost. And I'm just speaking from personal experience as well. So if I'm feeling a little lost in whatever it is, there are other people also that are feeling lost. And so it's actually also not about, it's like Lance Armstrong's book, it's not about the bike.
Absolutely.
Not about the exercise, not about this, not about the science. Yes, it is, but it ain't. It's so much more. And that is integrated wellness. And that is what we're fighting for, to share with people.
So as we get towards the end of this, maybe a leading parting statement, Ianthe, that you want to give as we head into this. Is there something you want to say you want to leave with this community tonight?
It's so hard for me to choose one thing. You know me, I've always got a million things that I want to share.
It's like an interview. You've got 30 seconds to go.
One parting thing is you have to just try. Just try. That's it. You just try it. And I promise you, it'll be good.
So my sort of my last parting comment is that what's so exciting about this is that I'm not here to fix a broken mindset. I'm actually here to just help you uncover the potential that you already are.
Boom. Boom. Well done, both of you. That's awesome.
So cool, Lauren.
That's so awesome. Okay, so we are ready to go. This program is ready to go. And watch the space. We're gonna have some specials in the market in the next few days. I'm excited about this. I'm pumped. Thank you both so much for your time. It's late at night.
Thank you both. Thank you both.
So cool.
Right?
It's so cool.
Thanks, Ianthe. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great night. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.